Hello, William. Josh. Not much there, Josh. Just got done watching Live PD. Excuse me. um. As far as the race, very interesting. They basically continued the streak of only getting 5 laps in a race before a caution. Xfinity did that in Texas, and the Cup Series did that in Texas. And then Xfinity did it today. So we'll see if Cup does it tomorrow. Get a crash or something in before 5 laps. I noticed a lot of people fighting for the bottom, where the PH1 is, or Sticky Bite. So I'm kind of gonna expect the same thing tomorrow. In the first, I don't know, 50 laps or so. Because the Cup race is longer than the Xfinity race. Hopefully not as many cautions, but hopefully we can, or they can get a long enough run where they can start getting the second groove, so everyone's not fighting for the bottom all day. Yes. Why did they move it? Because of weather later in the day. Supposed to get weather sometime late in the day. So trying to beat it, where either they totally beat it, Or at least get past the halfway point. But it's gonna be interesting if they make it if they beat the weather or not. What was that? I didn't see that. I'd like to see McMurray do good this week. I'd like to see the 32 get in the top 8 out of this. Or top 6, I think it was last year. That'd be awesome. He's pretty good in... Yeah. I'm seeing 2 now. But, Matt DiBenedetto was, pretty good there in, second practice, I believe it was, Saturday. Or I meant yesterday, I'm sorry. He went to the top of the board for a little bit. And then, Denny Hamlin took it from him. But it was cool to see him up there while he lasted. Up at the top of the board, so we know he's got a fast car. I hope he can, but being a small team like they are, I don't know if he'll get the win, but I'm hoping for at least another top 6, top 8, top 10 finish. I mean, they're already starting good. They're starting 24th. Actually, no, they move up because Brad went, or Kurt went at the back, so they'll start like 23rd. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd like to see him win. But the odds of a small team like that winning against, you know, a Kyle Busch, very slim. Or Brad. No, don't get me wrong, I'd like to see him win. I mean, he's got a shot if he can qualify 24th, but the odds of him winning are like, I don't know, maybe 20%. Not dissing him or nothing, but the way Kyle Busch has been running past 2 weeks, I'll be happy with the top 10 for Matt, or even the top side of the 20s, 20, 19. You know, somewhere in there. He finished 16th at Texas, which is pretty good. On the lead lap. Which is actually a shocker. Because using mile and a half track like that is where they go down multiple laps. Being a small team like they are. But he bounced back to 16th. So, I mean, even if he can do one better and finish 15th this week, tomorrow, hey, it's still a win for that team. So I've asked Astron, you know, being a small team like you guys are, were you happy with finishing? This is in the top 25. So they're already doing good. They're already beating that odd by starting 23rd. Well, 24th, but since Kurt dropped his bag, they're starting about 23rd. To be honest, I don't see Johnson winning until Kansas. Because, I mean, everybody thought he was going to win Texas. He's a seven-time winner there. 6-time, I'm sorry. You know, he's won there 5 years in a row. 6 years in a row. People said, okay, it's going to be Johnson this week. He got in a wreck. I don't think Johnson has his head wrapped around that Camaro yet. Same with, you know, the other Chevy drivers. McMurray. Newman was pretty good a couple weeks ago. I think instead of to me, and I've not, you know, you see the young ones winning now. Well, it used to be the young ones went and asked the older ones for advice on what to do, where to put the car. I think it's time for the older ones, like Jimmie Johnson, to say, ask the young ones. Basically, you see, when Jimmie Johnson came into the sport, I mean, I wasn't old enough to recall this, but I learned from YouTube and stuff. When Jimmie Johnson came into the sport, he used to be a dirt bike racer. And when he came into sport, he'd always go over to his teammate, Jeff Gordon, and ask, hey, what do I do at this track? How can I get through this turn better? What do I need to do to my car to make it go over these bumps here? He's always asking Jeff Gordon for advice on how to make the car work at each track. Now, you see, it's the younger generation. My age, the ones my age. Kyle Larson, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott. I mean, he hasn't won yet, but he's came pretty dang close. William Byron. They're all beating these old guys. Like Jimmie Johnson, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch. And I think it's time for the older guys, like Jimmie Johnson, especially since he's not doing good this year, to ask for advice from the young ones. What are you doing nowadays to prepare for races? Or what are you doing different nowadays than when I started racing? See, because when Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr., Dale Sr., Kelly Yarborough and all them were racing, they didn't have these simulators that the big teams have now, like Gibbs and Roush and Penske. The only thing they had back then, I believe, after a few years, was iRacing, which is how Dale Jr. met his spotter, TJ Majors. it was through iRacing. So when he started real racing for real, he asked TJ to be his spotter. Because they already kind of had that. You talk about crew chiefs or drivers and spotters having that relationship. Well, TJ Majors and Dale Jr. already had that relationship from iRacing. He knew how Jr. talked, what he wanted in his car, what he wanted TJ to say over radio as far as how to clear him, tell him he's clear, stuff like that. That's the only thing I can think of that they had back then. But not in Kelly Yarborough's days, not in Alan Kulwicki's, who am I forgetting? Some of the older ones. Fireball Roberts, back in the 60s, 70s. They didn't have any of that. I think iRacing came out in like 2000 or 2001. But nowadays, that's what these young ones are doing when they're not in the real race car. Well, I mean, if you watch the Xfinity race or pre-race for the Xfinity Series, the driver of the 18 has never been in a race car. Never been in a stock car. The only time he was there was in a iRacing simulator. Or a simulator that the big teams have. Like Gibbs, because that's who he drove for today. And you saw how he did. He did fairly well for being on track for his first time yesterday. Friday. So I think, I'm pretty sure Hendrick has a simulator because Chase Elliott uses it. But not only that, but and the reason why Johnson ain't as good as his teammates, so you gotta think about this. William Byron, Alex Bowman, and Chase Elliott all raced in Camaros, that body style, in Xfinity Series. So they know how that aerodynamics works. That's why Johnson, in my opinion, needs to ask them, hey, how you doing this? How you doing that? What are you changing to make, that's my opinion of Johnson. It's not that he's getting too old to drive. Yeah, that's one of them. But he's never drove a Camaro. And it's a different nose and everything from the Chevrolet SS. Different aerodynamics. Different shaping of the nose. And so, until he gets his familiar with it, I don't know if he'll get a top 10. But I could be wrong. He could win Bristol. He could win wherever's next week, Richmond, I believe. he I think his next best chance, if he don't get wrecked out like he did Texas, is Kansas. He won there. I'd say last year. He's got a shot. But I'm really curious to see if there's going to be a second groove come in at some point in the race. I didn't really see one in today's race come in. Because I've seen people try to get up there. Well, on restarts, they're side by side, and one of the cars was outside the groove. And their back end just washes out. You couldn't keep the car under them if you get out of that PJ1. So it's gonna be interesting tomorrow. See how long it takes that groove to come in, or it takes the PJ1 to basically disappear and get slick, lose grip, and then people gonna have to start working their way up the track. And okay, so the first one's gonna be to get up there. You may have to retype that there, Josh. I don't understand what you're saying at the end there. Retype that there, Josh. I don't understand what you're saying, bud. Oh, yeah, that was funny. Yeah. I was just telling Aaron about that the night. I remember how when he got there, he showed Curtis his cans in the lounge, all spread over the floor and all that. After I saw that, I was like, after he got off, I was like, maybe that's Curtis's payback from Ron doing that. I told Aaron that. He goes, could be. Yeah, that was funny though. That's hilarious. I said hilarious but mean. I said it was funny but mean to make him walk that far. I mean, we really couldn't tell how far it was, but I was assuming 30, 40 yards probably. To the next shop down probably is where he got in at. It's been messing up. Well, ever since the first day they used it, it's been messing up. He went to do a 30-minute break going to, I believe, Vegas. And, no, Daytona. And just 30-minute break. And, he tried to do it, but the e-log's showing that he's not on his break. And then when he went on his or off his break, then it showed he's on his break. So it's like off timing of everything. And then it was just doing some other stuff that wasn't supposed to be happening. But then finally happened when he wasn't doing it. So it's basically off timing. Bad timing on it, pretty much. The best way I can explain it. Then half the time it didn't work. But that said, you're the only one watching, Josh. So I'm gonna let you go, bud. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Don't plan on a pre-race predictions for tomorrow's race, because by the sounds of it, I'll still be at church when it starts, or coming home from church when it starts. Fingers lock up here. But at some point tomorrow, I'll try to do it right after, if not a couple minutes after. While we're waiting for Ron to come on, I'll do the post race. Alright, have a good night, bud.